So the term ethology basically means studying behavior from a biological point of view. Ethologists basically believe that explanation of behavior can originate from biological causes, whether they are mental or physical causes, but this is what you use in explanation of them. And the other aspects of ethology is that basically you draw your conclusion from natural behavior of the animal. The whole idea for our research was not really coming from robotics. It was a purely basic interest in the way how dogs have been changed during evolution and making them such a good animals to live with humans. Actually, the dog is a very good model for robotics. Robot should be anything but a human. And I learned that during Lirec, actually. You can imagine that dogs are already so successful and they are not human-like at all if you take it really seriously. So why is it not a good model for building new robots, especially if our technology at the moment is very far from being so sophisticated as a human ever, but a human is already. How should another agent, would it be a dog or a robot, behave or perform in order to get this the anthropomorphizing from humans, or in other words, that humans allow this creature to live with them together, which is, I think, a big sort of an honor, if you like, or a big possibility for a creature. So what are the traits that are useful to the project? I think, for example, one is what we think is important is the interest. So that and a social interest. So that's what dogs clearly show, that they are interested in what's going on. A dog puppy is looking in the eyes, is looking at the head, is following the human around all the time and so on. This is what also to some extent should be displayed by a robot. And if you see that in a robot, you immediately feel maybe some sort of social contact. And I think that helps humans also to accept these robots in their environment. Our relationship with those groups was much stronger where there were really robots running around. So we can, using our methods, observation, looking at behavior details, where actually you have a real robot that is three-dimensional and actually functioning. So we had two roles. So one was the input, especially where we suggested behaviors based on observing dogs, what they should or could implement in these robots. So for example, the greeting behavior, for example, the leading behavior, and other ways of producing some sounds and so on. And at the end, especially at the end of the project, what was or is still our job, sort of, to actually test this. So now see that if the robot is now emerge in this social environment, how people react to this, whether they can actually discriminate between a robot that is happy and a robot that is sad, or between robots that have different sort of personalities, and whether it's not just the programmer who actually is putting in the data and then writes the program and the values, but actually the person can really perceive these differences. I think that's also an interesting feature, and we don't just sort of ask people, but we actually measure their behavior. So whether they really react differently if you have a robot that is maybe more pushy than another robot that is more avoiding and so on. So I think we have a double role in that respect.
Mm-hmm.